Today we have the CEO of a 16 billion cryptocurrency company that has fallen from grace and which way. This guy that you're seeing here is Sam Bankman-Fried, who is in deep trouble right now after the company FTX also filed for bankruptcy, among other things. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and these are going to be my first impressions of this case. There's an ongoing investigation, so we have to be careful with what we are seeing and how we address those perceptions that we're going to have. But in this video, I want to give you some tips to avoid certain biases that we have when we perceive people and try to guess if they are, the good guys or the bad guys, or if they are scammers or not, and that you can use in your life. The first thing that I've noticed in the internet about SBF, as he is called to, is that, how is it possible that people couldn't see that someone like this was not to be trusted? And I disagree, because you can have an odd behavior in the way he dresses, or the fact that he wanted to be millionaire or multi-billionaire just to give all the money to charity, or the fact that he is not driving a fancy car or living in a fancy condo or anything. But it's those little details that can confuse you into thinking that a person is either good or bad, when you have to really go a bit beyond that. I'm going to start with his body language. In this interview from CNBC some time ago, he was really confident when he was talking about what he does best. Was the actual system of this exchange that he was leading. And that's natural, because he built that from the ground up. It was his company, and he knew exactly how it worked. And it's a good guess that he knows what he was doing, because he grew that company to the 16 billion. So that's why his body language, when he's talking about these particular topics, are fairly confident, even if his baseline is of a shy person. He's almost all the time looking downwards. His chin is rather stuck to his chest, and his hand gestures are not that wide. There are too few body language clues to say, hey, he is a scammer. How could people not notice that? So we have to go a little bit further. And I'm going to talk about one bias that we all have when we are going for quick solutions. We are always going to try to avoid risks and avoid pain, and try to go for the rewards and joy and happiness and whatever we are looking for. In this case, we're talking about money, and you can guess that people that are investing in these cryptocurrencies, they want to improve their finances, their wealth. But how come a person like this that is growing this company doesn't trigger those signals, those warnings? And I think it was the exact opposite in this case. And I think it was the exact opposite in this case. I think the appearance of SBF, this man, in fact, helped people think that this was the real deal, that it was a genius that lifted this company, that created this structure, and was gonna make everyone, solid rich, and was going to allow many people to keep their money safe. And by the way, this is an exchange, a cryptocurrency exchange. You usually exchange your crypto, but you should keep your crypto with yourself. I'm not going to enter into the details of this, but leaving your money in the cryptocurrency exchange is not the safest bet. There are many descriptions of what happened all over the internet, but this was a problem that many people wanted their money out at the same time, so there was a liquidity crisis, and the house of cards went tumbling down. That is the too long didn't read. But as I was telling you, I think his appearance was worth the selling points of FTX. Why? Because we are always looking for something special, something that stands out, something that breaks our notion or our knowledge or our experiences. This is the breakout that we're looking for. This is the big break that we are looking for, and that big break is highly likely that it's gonna come from someone that is different from everything that we have seen so far. In this case, SPF has that, well, he doesn't look like a CEO. He doesn't look like a billionaire. He says that he wants to give all his money. Well, he already gave all his money. Is in that being special that people must have thought, well, this is the real deal. This is the one that is going to bring all the goodies. What I'm trying to tell you is that our biases of something that is exotic are really strong. I use that bias. It's not that I use that, but you have noticed that my accent is not that common, and so maybe that gives me some authority just by the sake that my accent is not common. Well, that's more power to me. But the problem is that we are talking about faulty thinking. And it's not only that we have a bias to see someone exotic and say, hey, this is the real deal, but also that we want them to confirm what we are thinking, what we are feeling. So we have this feeling. I have the feeling that cakes should have cinnamon. I have the feeling that pineapple must go on pizza. And I meet someone very exotic that says, well, yes, it is a rule. Pineapple should go on pizza. So I see someone that is exotic, that is special, that is disrupting everything that I've known about pizzas, and they are confirming what I feel it's right about pizzas, pineapple on pizza. So that is like a double bias. Like I'm not understanding my own judgment, and I'm looking for that validation outside of me on someone that looks really exotic, like SBF in this case. So it's this kind of phenomenon that in behavior we have to be aware of that in our thinking, because we fall for this over and over again. No, doesn't matter how many times it happens, it is really strong. That is the same principle behind why Elizabeth Holmes stood out so well, because it was this young woman, attractive woman with this deep voice that suddenly was a genius, was coming to revolutionize the healthcare industry. So it was the perfect storm, and yeah, people bought into it in many ways, precisely because Elizabeth Holmes was so special in that way, but was standing out for real. So in this case, we have that crazy hair, we have that twitching leg, we have that sort of odd behavior. We instantly assume, oh, he must be a genius. He must be a genius of how he talks. Yeah, he's always talking with the same voice tone. He knows what he's talking about. He's here to topple the status quo. But we have another problem in terms of our own biases. That maybe it could be a legit person. Maybe it could be someone that will not hurt a fly. Maybe we are right about that. Maybe it is a person that wouldn't hurt a fly. But in that sense, if you have a person, and that's the red flag that I could see in terms of behavior, because there were many red flags in technical details that, well, people did not pay attention to them. There's I've seen accounts since May of this year looking at inconsistencies. In June, there were already solid red came came crumbling down in November. But what I see in here is this. He could be a genius. I'm sure he is. But does a person like this give you the idea that he could run a $16 billion business? I'm not saying that he wouldn't have the capacity of running the business, but you know that at that level of leadership, at that level of management, you have to take, well, really sound decisions that there will be too many ruthless influence from outside. And to combat or defend the company against that influence, you need to have a spine to defend either principles or common sense. And a man like this, I'm not saying that he doesn't have principles, I'm not saying that he doesn't have common sense, but he doesn't look like someone that is gonna be a good risk manager. And if we're talking about leveraging billions of dollars in cryptocurrency, well, that is a problem. So yes, I'm talking about the way he looks. And you may say, hey, that is not fair. You can't talk about the way people look. And yes, I can talk about the way people look. And I'm going to tell you why. Because looks can tell you a lot about a person. And looks can give you clues and details, which questions to ask them to see if they are the real deal. I always tell my students, look at the shoes of the people, look at the pants, at the dresses, at the accessories. Look at them, make a profile. Remember that if someone is wearing something, it's because they made a conscious decision of wearing that. And if they made a conscious decision, then that what they are wearing is going perfectly with their personality, because nobody else, if they are independent adults, well, nobody else is telling them what to wear. So be more precise with his body language. Let's talk directly about his body language this time. Do you think this is a man that looks like he could handle pressure to you? You could handle high risks? Could be responsible in case, well, something really bad happens? Again, he looks great talking about the technical details. But we're talking about responsibilities, specifically 16 billion responsibilities. So as I said, these are my first impressions to this case. I have more questions. I'm sure you have questions, and I'm sure there's more to this story than we already know. You might think that I'm judging this guy too harshly, but in fact, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Again, there's so many things that we don't know. We have to listen to every version. And as I said, I don't agree with the first judgment. How could people trust a person like this? The summary of this first impression could be that I don't doubt that the guy is a genius and could build the company to that level. The problem is when it comes to take those decisions at that level, and if you have the spine to defend either principles or common sense or both, because being a CEO at that level takes a lot more than just technical and business savvy. I would love to know what do you think in the comments. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. Much love and bliss.